Hey Hanbuns, welcome back to my little corner of the world. Today's video is my attempt to recreate the iconic Kim Taehyung look from On. It is one of my favorites by far, so let's get on with it, shall we? If you'd like to follow along, here's the materials you'll need. I used two types of black eyeliners interchangeably because one had a more finer point that would help me define smudged and blurry areas. I also used some black eyeshadow and a miscellaneous Maybelline Eye Studio product to fill in the empty blank spaces of the drawing. You'll also need some makeup remover, some tissues or a towel, and a picture to follow along with. Now, let's get it! So first things first, you'll want to get into comfortable clothing. A shirt that will allow you to work around your neck and your shoulder without it getting in the way and ruining the artwork. I got into a tank top afterwards, as you can see here, because the shirt that I first had on was not working. Then you'll want to kind of draw or trace a frame with small little lines that you'll delete later as we go forward. But this frame will help us stay on one side of the neck without the branches carrying over and completely encircling the entire neck, because then that would look weird, right? So we kind of want to create a frame where we're going to put the artwork in. And remember that, well, at least for me, my neck was a lot smaller than Taehyung's, so I kind of needed to shrink the branches a little bit down so that they wouldn't completely encircle my neck and look a little bit like too much. And this was me realizing that I still hadn't put out my guide to follow along with, the picture of Taehyung that I was going to follow along with. Then I took one of my more dull eyeliners and I started tracing the sort of main branch on my most far out corner of my shoulder. I really don't know how to explain how you should do this. Do it in whatever method is more convenient for you. For me, it just helped me to look at the picture and then look back at my shoulder and kind of try to mimic what I see in the picture to copy it on my shoulder. I did struggle sometimes because I would lose track of what branch I was drawing. Since I was so focused in, I would lose track of it. So it's kind of like a little bit back and forth, looking back and forth. I even got to the point that I took out a makeup remover wipe and I completely cleaned off the slate and started all over again. So I just want to encourage you, don't give up, keep going. Sometimes you'll have to erase some stuff and start all over again, but that's okay because the outlook, the final product is going to be 10 times better. So don't be too hard on yourself, but at the same time, if you have to start from scratch, it's okay. I did too. Next, once I had all the frame drawn and all the bare branches drawn on my shoulder and my neck, I started shading in with a little bit of that Maybelline miscellaneous product, or you could just use black eyeshadow or anything that works for you as a filler, and I just started kind of shading in the branches while looking at the picture guide. I noticed that the stylist, Nuna, the stylist tried to shade in certain parts so that it would look like a light is kind of being reflected is reflected on the branches. So some parts looked more whiter than the others, and I tried mimicking that shading in the branches with my own shading, and it turned out the way it turned out. I'm not a perfect artist, but I definitely have so much respect for the stylists after doing this, especially considering that they are doing this on a live human being, and not just any live human being, but Kim Taehyung himself. I probably would have seized. I just want to make this note that I noticed with myself, and you might be experiencing as you're doing this, if you're doing this. I noticed that as I was looking at the mirror and focusing on like one single branch while I drew it, I was so frustrated with myself because I was like, this looks like crap, this doesn't look good. But once you push through and once you get to the end the end look, the end result, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you start looking at it from the bigger picture perspective, it actually looks not so bad. So what I was just saying is, if you zoom in, of course you're gonna judge every small detail that you see, but if you zoom out, it actually doesn't look that bad. So even if it's not perfect, your efforts are still valuable, so please don't be too hard on yourself. And that's all I wanted to note. I would love it if you tag me on Instagram. My name is @jmichelle_dreams. I would love to see how it turned out for you and just be proud of your efforts. And this was a fun project, so yeah, stay gold, peeps. If you like, please hit that like and subscribe button for more content, of course.